Hello, everyone, and welcome to another My Music. Today, I should be speaking to Colin with two L's.
Two L's, that's correct.
Because most people only have one, and one isn't enough. So two is the magic number. We will be talking about Federale and his music very shortly. But first of all, we need to play this little video from the Analog Trash people. You may have seen it a few times before because we play it at the beginning of every single one of these. But please stay tuned and enjoy.
Keep on, don't stop. Keep on, don't stop. Keep on, don't stop.
What are you imbibing there?
That's some coffee.
What time is it there?
It's 9 a.m. I just got back from tour last night.
You need a lot
Yeah.
of coffee. Lot of coffee. Tell me about the tour.
It was pretty short. It was just primarily we were playing a festival in Reno called Offbeat Festival. And then we played in Chico the following night. So it was just two shows. But it's a lot of driving for two shows, I'm gonna tell you.
Really? How far is that? Because in the UK we just don't understand any kind of distance. We can get from one end of the country to another in about 10 hours in a car. So
It's pretty similar to like driving the entire length of the UK. It's like probably 8.5 hours to Reno.
Wow.
Yeah.
That is that's some trek, isn't it? Yeah.
For one show. Well, two shows.
Were the crowd worth it? That's the thing.
Oh yeah, I mean it was great. I haven't played in Reno in a very long time, and that festival is really cool. And we were like one of the bigger acts on the lineup, so it was like there's a lot of folks there. It was really great.
Tell it right now for anybody that in the UK that has never ever met you or know anything about your music. Give us a little bit of a history. Where did it start for you?
Well, we started Federale in like 2004, and I was really originally like sort of inspired by like film music. So our first couple records are really sort of inspired by like Ennio Morricone and like spaghetti western music, and then since then we've sort of evolved into like like sort of a gothy country psychedelic rock sort of thing. It's a menagerie of styles in there.
Well, what's caused that evolution? Has it been these are all things that in your palette of listening that you've enjoyed over the years and you just wanted to bring them out? Or
originally, like I said, we were sort of inspired by that one sort of like style of music, but like I've got a lot of different records in my record collection. I like a lot of different kinds of stuff. So once you do something for a while, it's like, okay, what else can we add to this to make it, give it a new flavor? So I started adding in different aspects to things, and it's just I listen to all kinds of different music.
You're just giving us a clue as one of the records in your record collection right there. Yeah.
I also own a recording studio. My recording studio is called Revolver. So yes, I love the Beatles. I love 60s music in particular.
Yeah. Is there anything in your record collection that we'll never see going into one of your records?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I have like a whole section of like metal records because I really love certain types of metal, but I don't think I'll ever bring that into what I do. I can't shred, so
What we talking here? Sort of Slayer, Anthrax, that sort of thing, or
plenty of like 80s metal. I actually last night when we were driving, I played. There's this German band from the 80s called Halloween.
Yeah.
They've got a song called Halloween. It's like 12 plus minutes. It's just fully epic. I really like stuff like that.
I loved the more obscure bands, metal bands from the 80s. So people like, do you remember a band called Crimson Glory? They wore like metallic masks.
No, I don't remember that one.
No?
Just look that up.
Go and check it out later. It was
Cool.
kind of weird. Like they were like, they had the kind of, you know, frizz hair that everybody had back then.
Yeah.
The big hair, but they all wore these kind of metal masks.
That's showmanship right there. You need those masks when you're metal, man.
Well, yeah, it's kind of like Daft Punk kind of did it, but cooler later on.
The 80s metal version of Daft Punk.
No, absolutely. in terms of what people are going to hear on this latest album, you've definitely got the kind of gothic side on there. What were you listening to prior to making this album?
I was listening to a lot of I listen to goth music all the time, but when I was making this record, I was actually listening to a bunch of like 70s Italian stuff, soundtracky stuff like Cipriani and Bruno Nicolai and stuff like that. So there's definitely aspects of that in there as well. But you know, I love Love and Rockets and, you know, Sisters of Mercy and, you know, all those bands. Actually, we did a collaboration with David J. He is on one of our songs. We played backing him up, David J. from Bauhaus. So, you know, there's some tie-ins there.
Yeah. I had Aaron Knight on the other day, and, you know, regular on here is Michael from Beauty and Chaos.
Oh, cool.
So are you kind of a fan of, like, you know, current peers in that kind of genre as well?
Am I a fan of what now?
Yeah. Do you keep up to date with like newer stuff that's coming out in those kind of genres, or do you tend to go back into sort of the archives?
I definitely go into the archives. I'm not really up with what's going on as far as like newer goth bands, because like I feel like goth got a little weird in the 90s, you know, being taken over by like the industrial thing, which I'm not necessarily as into. But I know that there are bands doing stuff that's like more in the vein of like older goth music. I'm just not super up on it.
You just need to meet these guys, and then you can all have a little. You could create.
So.
Yeah, you could create your own kind of maybe collaboration as well, which would be good. So we're never going to see you do like you know, a Kylie Minogue type song or anything like that on any of your albums. That's you know, pure pop isn't for you then.
I mean, you know, I think there's a lot of like songcraft in every style of music, and you know, I appreciate the songcraft that goes into like the really poppy stuff when it's good. I don't know, I wouldn't rule it out, but it's certainly not something that I'm like drawn to.
You mentioned that you know, right at the beginning of this, you've just traveled sort of 8.5 hours to go and play a festival.
Yeah.
Is there a crowd somewhere in the world that you would really want to go and play to? Is you know, where do you feel that your music would travel best to?
Oh, well, I mean, I do think that we have a tour planned for Europe coming up in about a month, mainland. I think that'll go over well there, but I do think the UK, I think we go over well in the UK, which hopefully can happen next year. I'm trying to get it going. So, yeah. And Australia, I'd love to take Federale to Australia.
All right. Well, for the weather more than anything else. I mean, it's, and the beaches, you know.
Yes. I've toured Australia a couple times with my other band, Brian Johnstown Massacre, and it's just fantastic shows down there. Great music fans.
What keeps challenging you as a songwriter to make the next record?
Yeah, well, you know, it's like I'm always trying to push myself to like come up with fresh ideas and to like break the mold. Because I feel like, you know, I sort of established a bit of a mold with my early records, and with all the subsequent ones, I've kind of tried to like break it and bring something new in. But I try not to throw out the baby with the bathwater. So I keep the
But you
stuff.
feel what, like each album that you make is a reaction slightly to the last one, or
Kind of, yeah, exactly. So what I'll do is I'll kind of be like, okay, I want to have a song that's like, say, Sisters of Mercy meets Ennio Morricone meets Nick Cave or something like that. I'll sort of come up with a concept like that, and then I'll sort of come up with a concept of like, okay, well, what is this song sort of about? And then from there, I'll try to fill in the gaps. But yeah, I'm definitely like thinking in terms of like, what was the last record? I don't want to repeat that. Let's do something different. Yeah.
talk to me about the artwork for this album. Who did that? Where did that come from?
He's an artist named Nathaniel Hebert. He's Canadian, and I had gotten this book that was called Occult Britain, and it's sort of like a travel book, and it's talking about like historical like occult landmarks in the UK. When I was on tour with BJM, I was trying to like go to some of these places and see some of this cool spooky stuff. But anyhow, I was like, I really loved the artwork of the book, both the cover and the artwork inside. And so I actually just I looked the guy up, and I found his email and I wrote him. And he wound up doing because I knew I wanted to do something that was kind of a little darker and kind of spooky for this record. So I wrote him, and he came up with the concept. I sent him some basic ideas, and he came up with it. So yeah, he's a great artist.
That's cool. So where are these sort of places? And when you say spooky places, are you talking things like medieval type places that have got, or places that are actually haunted, or
places that are supposedly haunted, like things like standing stones, and then like old rundown castles. But then there's also landmarks of like where things were filmed, particular like horror movies and stuff. They talk a lot about a lot of the folk horror films that came out of the UK in the late 60s, like Wicker Man sort of stuff. So just like filming locations, and then also like it just tells you stories of like back history of certain areas and things. It kind of gives some interesting spooky context when you're cruising around.
I like
the UK.
that. I like that.
Neat.
Yeah. So with the songs on this album, and with your songs in general, can you relate songs to places?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I have a couple songs that are named after places. And yeah, and like especially like my first couple records, which are really sort of like deserty and spaghetti westerny. I was definitely had places in mind. Like Eastern Oregon is very beautiful. It's very deserty. It's like a high desert sort of area. So I kind of keep those places in my mind when I'm writing music. I'd say that with this newer record, though, you can definitely hear the influence of a lot of like British bands, and I think there's a bit more British aspects to the record in general.
Where in Britain would you most like to play?
Oh goodness. Well, let's see. I have a lot of good friends in Liverpool. I played in Manchester.
The Beatles for a start.
Yeah, so I'd say Liverpool for sure. But Manchester's a great city. There's obviously a lot of great bands came out of Manchester. So hit those.
I'm going to complain about that though, because every band that comes over from the States plays London. They go up north. They play the cities up north, but they don't then come back down the southwest. They never do it. Weird. We need that to happen more.
Yeah.
Bristol, Exeter, these are great cities. They've got. So just bear that in mind if you're putting your itinerary together. That the southwest is lovely. I know it's a bit more countrified, etc. But we do have the best fish and chips ever. I'm just going to put that out.
I believe that absolutely. And that book that I'm talking about, the author is based out of Bristol. So I definitely want to go there. Hopefully, meet the author of the spooky book.
No, that would be fantastic.
Yeah.
What haven't you achieved yet in terms of music that you still keep up as a challenge?
Well, for me, like I try to have a lot of my music wind up in films, and that's always been a really big aspect of what I do, and a thing that I am really motivated towards. I've had music in really cool indie films. I've had music in the Lego Movie, which is like a big blockbuster.
Can you just talk a little bit about how you go about doing that? Because there's so many artists that come on here that go, I really want to know how to get my music in films, but I just don't know where to start. So what's your, without giving the game away, because you don't want everyone to do it, but what's the kind of go-to technique?
Away, I would, but it is a bit of a mystery to me, and I've been working on this for my whole life. I mean, some of it's just purely by chance, like the Lego Movie thing. Like I was contacted out of the blue. I didn't have anything to do with that necessarily. And then I also had one of my songs in the trailer for the Banshees of Inisherin a couple of years ago. And again, that had nothing to do with any effort of mine, aside from just me putting stuff out. They cold called me on that one. But I mean, it's a matter of like, I think it's a matter of being proactive, and like, I reach out to music supervisors. I reach out to directors. I reach out to editors even, and like send them my music. Because if you don't do it and you don't have somebody doing it for you, nobody else is going to do it. You might get lucky here or there, but I think you got to be really proactive and reach out to people that you think might have a similar, sort of like aesthetic. Do
you think part of it is because you're quite passionate about film as well yourself, which is that you're actually kind of speaking that language as opposed to someone that's just trying to push a product into a film?
Definitely. I mean, like I have a film series that I do here in Portland at the Hollywood Theater. So I'm a big film geek, so I'm able to talk to film people because I have a lot of background information, so I can kind of speak the language.
That's cool.
Mm.
Have you ever worked with students of film?
Students. I actually have, yeah.
Yeah, I'm asking for a friend. My son actually lectures in film now at Western College in the Southwest.
Really?
Yeah, he went to Cheltenham to do study film, and he now lectures in film at college. And I just wondered whether you'd ever kind of worked with film students. And
I worked with like a teenager actually a few months ago. He reached out to me and he said he was making his first very, very short film and he wanted to use one of my songs. And I was like, okay, well, let's talk about it. And so I actually did, work with him. And he, I think he might go on to do some great things. He's very motivated. So yeah, I work with, people that are just starting out all the time. Definitely.
That's cool. Well, the thing is, you see, if you hedge your bets on that as well, you never know, do you? Because you could be the next.
Could be Hollywood. The next Tarantino.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So yeah, and they'll remember that, right? They'll be like, oh, Colin.
Yeah, he gave me a shot when I was like 17. So I'm like, yeah, as long as people seem motivated and have some good ideas, I'm definitely down to talk to anybody.
Do you believe in that? Do you believe that like what goes around comes around for people? If you put out, then you get it back?
Definitely. I think if you don't put stuff out there, then nothing's going to come back to you, So I think there's definitely something to be said for like putting whatever goodwill into the world that you can.
Now, what will this album be released on? Is this going to be available on all kinds of physical format or?
Yeah. It's on vinyl. It's on CD. I can grab one.
You're allowed to. Yeah, you're allowed to hold it up and direct people's gaze to it so that they can.
Yes.
They want to. Yeah. Here's the plug, folks.
Here we are.
There we are. Look at that
vinyl.
That's beautiful.
And the record. Yeah, and the record is it's like a burgundy color, so it's really cool. It's very stylish.
On that front bit, where it's got the numbers on that, is what do the numbers represent?
I'm not sure. You'd have to ask Nathaniel. He came up with the Gorgon idea. I sent him a couple of pictures of just random strange things I'd taken pictures of on tour.
It's a bit like one of those games that you play with marble when you're a kid. Do you know what I mean? When you twist it like the labyrinth.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
It is a bit like that, probably. Yeah.
I like that.
Yeah.
It's like different levels, you know. You get or you pulled the thing back and it went up, and then it went
Right.
round, and then you score 1, 2, 3, 4. Could be
Yeah.
that.
It could be that.
Or it could be like tracks.
Yeah,
Right.
or could be a dartboard. But it's funny because I didn't do this on purpose, but this really does match my wallpaper. So that worked
It really does. In fact, I think you actually need to hang that on the wall.
Yeah,
with the wallpaper and see if anyone actually notices it's there.
it's camouflage. Yeah, exactly.
That's tremendous. Where can people go and get the album? Where's the best place for them to support you so that you get as much money as possible?
Yeah, well, our record label website, Jealous Butcher Records, or Bandcamp also is really good. Those are good places. Or you can just go on our website. We've got all the links there. It's federalepdx.com.
Cool. You mentioned the fact that you've got a recording studio as well.
Yes.
Who would you love to get through your recording studio? Who would you love to produce?
Gosh, that's a good question. Man, I don't know. I really love all the stuff that's been coming out from the Smile. I think those guys are super geniuses. I don't know what I can really do.
We just want to watch more video footage of Tom playing drums.
Right.
Cool, right?
Yeah, that would be pretty neat.
Yeah, he really looked. I don't know whether you've seen that clip, but he looked incredibly worn out by the end of it. It just put so much energy into it. It's just like, I don't know whether you could have.
One. Let's check it out.
Oh, you really should. Yeah, yeah.
Cool.
I love the fact that they're doing that whole instrument swap thing, though. Yeah,
absolutely. Yeah, I saw them play in Portland like about a year ago. It was incredible. It was very inspired. They're doing some really cool stuff.
It's the nod to the past, but with something unique as well, isn't it?
It is, yeah, definitely.
Do you think that's partly your niche in music as well, a nod to the past with something unique on top?
I think that's fair, definitely. Because I think there's so many great things that happen, like in the past, various eras of, high points of artistic expression, so I think I definitely keep all those touchstones in mind. I know that most people do, really. But
I think especially if you're trying to make music that's kind of would fit a film and therefore draws emotion, it's got to have some essence of something you've heard before, I think, in order to make those connections.
I think so. Yeah, definitely. It's fun. I sort of like, Anton from Brian Jonestown, he does this a lot too. Like he'll reference a couple things that you might not think to reference together, like he has songs that are like sort of like Robert Smith meets, like the Rolling Stones or something like that. I think it's really interesting to take like two things that you wouldn't necessarily think would work together and shove them together as like references, and you can come up with some pretty interesting things that way.
Yeah, as long as it does work. Yeah, I think
as long as it works. Yes,
I can probably think of examples where it wouldn't. Like the Smurfs with the Beach Boys. That don't do that. Anybody?
I'm not going to do that one.
That's really that someone probably would. I feel that there was a period in the early 90s where people did a lot of that sort of thing, like the whole Jive Bunny thing and whatever, where people were doing silly voices and
yeah, definitely
mixing stuff from the 50s with like dance music. I just don't do it.
Right.
It's pretty horrible. It's been an absolute pleasure talking to you, Colin. Thank you.
Yes.
Thank you so much. So we're looking forward to the album is out. So do go and order and fill your boots, please, folks. You've now learned how to do that. And then we're looking forward to a tour. When are you likely to hit these shores then?
I'm hoping that we can get there in 2025. But like I said, we are doing Europe in our first show is on Halloween. So we'll be all over mainland Europe, France.
Are you going to wear your Halloween T-shirt for that? Are you going to wear? You're going to get?
Probably
get your Halloween band.
I probably should. Yeah, I don't have one. I'm gonna have to go out and get one.
I think that's a great idea. I think.
Yeah.
Yeah. Have you got an orange guitar that you can put like pumpkin eyes on?
No, sadly no.
No.
I'll have to go out and get one.
If anyone would like to give Colin an orange guitar that he could
Please
decorate as a
Send me an
pumpkin,
orange
that would-
guitar, please.
yeah, and orange amps to go with it
I would definitely accept an orange amp. Yes,
because they're really nice
they are
and
quite nice.
and they sound great. There you are.
Yeah.
Look at that. Let's try and get endorsement for the tour before you even start.
This is great.
That would be
Keep it
great.
going.
Colin, it's been a pleasure talking to you. Thank you so much for coming and
Likewise.
sharing about your music. And
You as
folks,
well.
this has been Colin. Please do go and check out the album. We're going to put the links to the album, etc., in the post as they go out. If you've enjoyed this conversation today and you want to get Federale's album, that's Federale, not Federer, the tennis player. That is
No.
a completely different thing. Make sure you spell things right when you put them in Google, because otherwise you'll get tennis stars. If you've enjoyed this, then please do go and share with other people that you know. If you haven't enjoyed this, sorry for wasting 26 minutes of your time. You can get the time back though by going and buying a Barbie doll from the defunct Toys R Us in Ipswich, and then sending it back by post via Israel. I don't know why that works, but
That's how you get your time back.
That's how you get your time back. Other ways of getting your time back have been included in the little terms and conditions at the bottom of this. We will speak to you soon for more My Music. Until next time, from Colin and me, bye for now.